about music. You will be inspired to think higher, realize your gifts. Join the music and Michelle and Gina. Turn this up and through your speakers is the music of music.
Good evening and welcome to the Muses Behind the Music. I am your host, Michelle Fallon. Tonight, I am bringing on such a fabulous mother-daughter duo, a dynamic team in business, in friendship, in family relations. They have, along with their brother, Victor Simonson, who happens to be the very first Black music director for the Broadway show Hamilton. They have founded CAAPA, the Coalition for African Americans in Performing Arts. And they have dedicated themselves to making sure that they are bringing color to the classics, which is so important. It's crucial. This organization has a potential staying power, recently opening their doors to the newly CAAPA Cultural Center, which is about 15 minutes from the Prince George's County, Maryland line. It is planning to house the CAAPA Arts Academy. Looking forward to talking a little bit about that this evening. WOW, which is Without Words Deaf Arts Initiative, and 60 plus arts programs, as well as concerts, recitals, auditions, conferences, festivals, workshops, master classes, and more. Goodness gracious, this is becoming the one-stop shop. It already has, and it's such a dynamic space for the African American artists. And I can confidently say that it is a welcoming organization for all artists, but the fact that we can focus in on helping to develop the talents of African Americans who are interested in classical music is indeed a beautiful thing. Since March of 2020, CAAPA has produced nearly 100 virtual and live programs for the public, not to mention an ongoing partnership with PG County Public Schools, servicing over 13,000 students in grades K through 12, with Opera for Fun workshops, scholarships, and a variety of different programs within this partnership. CAAPA had recently awarded a $20,000 scholarship to a Black opera composer scholarship. It was here's your prize money for them being able to mount their original opera, which was featured on the big screen at the National Harbor. These ladies are doing some phenomenal things, not only inside of the DMV community, but abroad. And for those of you who have no idea of what they're doing, I'm looking forward to the conversation. Will you warmly welcome, with the muses behind the music, Terri Allen and Pam Simonson. Hello, ladies. Welcome.
Hi.
It's so good to have you all. It's so good. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight and getting ready to share your love. Hey, how are you? Doing good?
It's our pleasure to be here, Michelle. I'm
Awesome.
excited because I've seen your show before, and it's always a lot of fun to watch and enlightening. And
Oh,
so,
thank
thank you for
you.
inviting us. Thank you for
I'm
inviting us.
excited. I think it's so needed. You know, I was thinking about the fact that as I was growing up, and I've shared this time and time before, I was not in a outside of being born in New York. We moved to predominantly white areas afterward, and I didn't have anything like CAAPA to look at. I'm grateful for my parents who made sure that I was exposed via listening to Leontine and Kathleen, and to Jesse. But to have access to something like this for the young artists, for the amateur and the professional artists who are African Americans is just really dynamic. And it is it really is a necessity so that we can constantly see that we are a part of the classics, and the classics being European classical music. And before we delve into that, I'm so proud, and I'm so glad that you all are doing this thing. Tell us who you are, though. Like, as the Pam and the Terry, how did you even get started in this whole music thing that kind of influenced your drive into CAAPA eventually down the road? I don't know. We can start with we'll start with Mom Terry.
Yeah. Yeah. Mom first. Mommy first.
Well, thanks again, Michelle, for having us. We're really honored to be on this show. CAP founded by Victor and Pamela,
Hmm.
and they wanted to just give back to the community. So, having been lovers of classical music themselves and the benefit of different arts organizations, Long Island, it was, you know, as we know, classical music is not readily embraced by the African American community.
Yeah.
But what happened was Pamela and Victor showcased themselves and their talent in a way that was exemplary during their high school career and going on to college. And when they finished, they just wanted to do something for young students that were aspiring in music, and they wanted to really. And Pamela can actually expound on the actual formation of the organization, but it was really, and I kind of jumped on the bandwagon and said,
Hmm.
okay, I'll help you guys out. And, they started with just, helping other Black musicians maybe do their concert, printing their program, ushering, helping out with the receptions,
Yes.
doing in kind services. And that's how CAPA began with just grassroots kind of stuff that we were
Yeah.
doing.
How did you start off, Terry? Were you a performer yourself? I mean, or is this the administrative love that you've always had?
I had a little bit. My mother told me that when I was a little girl, was fourth station that on TV was NBC
Uh-oh.
and PBS on early Saturday mornings. I'd get before the cartoons came on. PBS had operettas back in the
Oh,
day,
okay.
way, way,
Hmm.
way, way, way back. And I'd sit and watch them. My mommy told me that I just had this love for opera, and then my grandmother, Therese Genevieve Whittington, exposed us to classical music. But I was never a singer. I tried.
Hmm.
I directed the youth choir. I directed the teen chorus at my church. Of course, I encouraged other young people who wanted to do it. But I had no musical background. I'll tell you the truth, Michelle. I had years of piano lessons, and I
Yeah.
only play one song, and it's like at that song. It's not even it's not even anything to mention. But
Uh-huh.
that was really my musical background. I tried to sing a solo in my church. The Lord is my light and my salvation. I
Yes.
my memory for words, Pamela can tell you, I cannot remember words, lyric, nothing like that. So I just sit in the background and just kind of do the backstory stuff.
Well, like I always say, the people who like to say that they're in the background, they are the ones who are really, really working hard, and oftentimes go without receiving any sort of, recognition, because you're keeping
Mm-hmm.
things afloat. And so
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, I respect folk like you who have a gift for the background, because that's not mine. And we each have to know our lane. We have to know, what our strengths are and where we have been called to do our work the most. And so, Terry, you holding it down and you're building it up at the same time
Yeah.
while they're out on the forefront. Pam, what was it like for you? Nothing is more beautiful to me than when you have parents who can be ever so supportive
Oh
of
yeah.
your artistic career and the movement of that? How
Yes,
did you start?
absolutely. That has been one of the biggest blessings, is having my mother be so supportive and so encouraging of my voice, but also, of course, of helping with CAAPA, and it was, from the time I wanted to sing, which I think was probably out of the womb, or in the womb even, I don't know.
Right, right.
She literally has been there from day one. Like, we're gonna do, if you want to do this, we're gonna do this. We used to call her our momager, because she was just very much so one of those moms that was like, if you want to be a star, we're gonna do this, So, but I honestly, ironically, never wanted to be a star. I just always wanted to sing. That was it. Like, my passion has always been to be performing in some way, shape, or form. So I started out actually in musical theater, which I still love today. And then when I got into high school, as my mom alluded to earlier, my choir director was like, "You have a natural gift for classical. Have you ever thought about it?" And I was like, "No." My brother has taken piano his whole life, but I never thought about it. And so he recommended this voice teacher who happened to be an opera singer.
Wow.
And from that point, I that was the direction that I took. She taught me some arias, or the 24 Italian.
Yes, yes, yes.
And
Every singer's.
yes, every singer. And so that was my start. And then I applied for a music degree, applied for music at 3 different places, and I ended up at Eastman School of Music. So that was one of the best places I could have gone, but I didn't know at the time. My brother went to Eastman as well, and so we both went into music. And so from the moment I decided that was what I wanted to do, it was just part of me.
Yeah.
It never stopped from there, and so music has been a part of my life forever.
I'll tell you what I appreciate too is that because we have a lot of young people, and you're a teacher. I am a teacher as well, and we have a lot of young people who only think that success is defined in one particular manner. And that's
Right.
if you make it to whatever the world constantly throws in our face as success,
Yes,
then you have
as
arrived.
successful.
I
Mhm.
appreciate the fact that you said, I wanted to perform. And that
Right.
was the definition for you
Yeah.
as being successful. And I think for those people who are the young folk who are listening in, I'm hoping that they will, take that piece of nugget that you just left, and they'll meditate on that and figure out ways to define for themselves what
Yeah.
success really looks like. Because after that, you and your brother decide, hey, okay, we have these talents, we've got these gifts, and we really want to be able to reach back into the community. Did you find it, though, to be a challenging space because maybe you didn't have a quote unquote name,
Oh
or
yeah.
what kind of challenges did you all face as you were beginning CAAPA?
Well, I'll let my mom speak on this a little bit more, but I do want to share. The beginning was all grassroots family. Everyone that was involved in all of the events that we did, the performers. It was me and my brother for so many of them, right? And then we just started like inviting friends. Can you do this favor for us? Can you sing here?
Yeah.
So it was like really grassroots, and that was my favorite part, was knowing how many of our people that loved us and knew what we were trying to do were supporting us through that.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a while to catch on, to be honest. It took a
Sure.
while because, like you said, no one really knew who CAAPA was.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kept going at it. And my mom always tells this story at events, like it was 10 years in when we were like, 10 years? We've been doing this for 10 years? Wow, we need to commemorate this time, but even at 10 years, people were like, who, CAAPA, who? And so it was at that point we ramped it up a little bit more and said, let's do more. Let's try and get ourselves out there more. And now, it's grown exponentially.
Yes,
since
indeed.
that 10-year period. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Terri, how are you constantly
That's,
trying to make
that's one of the
CAAPA
things
alive.
that,
Say, hold on, you kind of got cut off in there.
oh
Say it
goodness,
one more
that's a
time,
loaded
Terry.
question. Do we have about three? Do we have 3 or 4 weeks for you to talk continuously about CAAPA and how to stay and how we're staying? Because I can talk endlessly, but I do want to
Right.
piggyback on what I do want to piggyback on what Pamela said when she mentioned that it was 10 years before we realized that it was, like a bona fide organization. And somebody actually said to us, you really should become 501c because you're funding support what you're doing. No, doing what you're doing, focused on Black classical musicians, youth, you know, people in the performing arts with that focus. So it was
Mm-hmm.
10 years in, as Pamela mentioned, before we even applied for our 501c3. And once we
Wow.
got that, it was, all
Skyrocket.
hands on deck. We formulated a board of directors. We after some funding resources, and just expanding the program. So that was 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, it's been 9 years. So we're getting ready to celebrate technically our 20th, but
Wow.
technically our 10th anniversary. So we're really
Yeah.
excited about that. But it was really, collaborative effort to help bring colors to the classics, to help to highlight Black classical musicians, to allow the audiences to engage in hearing Black classical musicians sing and perform up close and personal, so that they themselves might want to go and see an opera. They may never
Mm-hmm.
have seen an opera before. So the audiences, one of our things, we actually have a 5-point initiative, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
If you think of our acronyms, CAAPA, we think about that in terms of community outreach, arts
Yeah.
education, audience development, performance opportunities, and arts partnership. So
Oh, I love
that
it.
point initiative is something that's in every single one of our programs,
I
and
love
trying
that.
to bring those things to life and to make CAPA live.
I mean, you really could could take each one of those
Yeah.
acronyms and
So
you could just, separate it and sit on that for years and years. I mean, because there's so much to develop that's in there. When you had mentioned about the grassroots, it is very difficult to get people to buy into the vision at times,
Yeah.
and to be able to utilize. Thank God y'all had a lot of folk in the family who were
I
gifted. I
know. We're
mean,
blessed.
you
We are
know
blessed.
are you in a space where you're open to, like, even the interns, bringing on young people who are interested in arts management and arts
Oh yeah.
administration? How does that work, and what does that look like? Because there are people who love music and might feel
Mhm.
like you, Terry, who might be like, I love music. I really can't play and sing. I love when folk always tell me that too.
I know.
But, they have their gift in being organized, in being
Yeah.
able to run an
yeah.
organization.
Mhm.
So, what kinds of things would you be looking for from people who are thinking about this, or how can they even become interested in being an arts presenter or organization?
Well, we have actually a
Yes.
ton of
Well,
volunteers. Oh, I know it's breaking up on her end, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know she hears after the fact. Go ahead, mommy.
You
okay. I'm
there, Terry?
sorry.
Yeah.
It is kind of choppy. Is there something I can do? Yes.
I was.
So we have had interns uh, from Howard University, uh, from the local area, and in fact, our most recent intern, who happens also to be hearing impaired or deaf, she is the one who came up with the idea to create a new program that CAAPA is using called WOW, WOW, without words. And she loves the arts. She's actor, and they, when they're deaf, they only hear, well, they only feel the vibrations in order to be able to dance. But she wants to launch this new program called WOW. So starting as an intern, and then she comes in part time here. This is our home office behind me, and so we're working with her. She just finished Gallaudet and also the Rochester Institute of Technology with a degree. So she's ready to embark on taking on arts administration. So,
Wow.
I'm coaching her, helping her along. I'm not an expert. I have to also learn every single
Yes.
day,
Yeah.
different things that are necessary in this industry. But because she is so passionate something that she wants to do, and now tying in what her experience that she's gained from CAAPA and
Mhm.
tying it into a program that she would actually go to help facilitate. It's just breathtaking.
Yeah.
It's like, because we know that this is something that's beyond all of us.
Yeah, I absolutely. I've had one experience. This is coming up 29 years of me in the public school education. I've had one experience where I taught um, a young lady who was hearing impaired, and boy, it was one of my most challenging um, moments, and she did it. She also had, what is the inner ear? Um,
Cochlear implant.
yes, she had that. So it
Totally
enabled her a
implant.
bit more to feel and sense the vibrations. And she was picking up a bit on sound, but teaching them about matching pitch and developing just their voice with that level handicap. It was fascinating to me. It was a
Yeah.
challenge. I had to do some research. And I didn't do enough. It really tested the waters of patience. Let me just be real.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I came out of that gathering so much that I wasn't even anticipating. And so I think this is a dynamic program that you all have initiated and are instituting through CAAPA. That no limits to me. Like, for all of the deaf community that will be so intrigued and just completely proud of being in that space and having something that represents them so
Yeah.
well. I wanted to go back because you were saying a little bit earlier about embracing classical music in
Mhm.
the Black community, and I, for one, know how tremendously hard that is. I love gospel, I direct gospel, but God only gave me a classical voice. I'll sing
Mhm.
gospel a little bit. It'll be my way. It'll be my way that I sing it,
I know
right?
it. Know how you feel
And
with them.
yes. And I have always, a little secret, I have always hated singing in front of my people. But
Oh
I think
yeah.
it's been because of the lack of exposure that
Mhm.
we have presented to the overall community. You all are working with PG County Public Schools. I didn't know this. Go figure. Anyway, I love that, and that you are providing for our young people some opportunities to get outside of their four walls. What all do
Mhm.
you do with the school system in partnership?
I'll let my mom take that
Well, our
one.
first program, we have a memorandum. Can you hear me?
I can hear
Okay,
you now.
we have a memorandum of understanding with okay, we have a memorandum of understanding with Prince George's County Public Schools with the Cultural Arts Division. I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, Pamela. Is that and Michelle, you would know too, with Lee Gibbs and Anita Hawkins.
Yes,
But
yes.
Lam-
Judith
we
Hawkins.
Lambert.
started out Judith Hawkins, and
Judith
no,
Hawkins. Uh-huh.
Anita.
Anita Lambert.
And
Lambert, right.
Lambert, yes. So we worked with them. The first major project that we did was launched before the pandemic began, but it ended up being during the pandemic. And it was a celebration of Beethoven's 200th birthday called Ode to Joy.
Mm-hmm.
And we engaged the students through an essay writing contest, a media research competition, a poster contest, and of course the music. So one of the questions that the students asked was Beethoven black? And they had to do research to find out whether or not Beethoven was black. And then another young student, he was a third grader, I'll never forget this. He did research on the history of Beethoven, and we partnered also with WETA in presenting the winning students. And he found out through research that Beethoven was dyslexic. And he was so excited about that because he was also dyslexic. And he tied in his essay with stating the fact that he was like Beethoven. And even though Beethoven became a famous composer, you know, he had similarities and he felt a connection to Beethoven. So it was the little things. That was last year. This year we're doing a project called Got That Swing.
Yes.
The celebration of the Harlem Renaissance.
Yeah.
So we're doing a jazz opera with the students. Again, a writing, literary competition, a poster contest, a poetry competition, a media research again, and of course, you know, the music itself. So in addition to, we have a spring break camp where we've partnered, and we had an influx of students once the word got out with the parents. We had to cut it off at 60, 70 students now, Pam, and have a waiting list of 30. Spring break camp.
Yeah.
And we'll mirror that during the summer. We have our summer break, our summer camp, which will extend to 2 weeks this year for the students.
Go ahead, y'all. Yes. Yes. That's
it's
awesome.
Only God. It's only
That's
God.
my baby right there. The camps are my baby.
The camp.
Yeah.
So Pam, are you running it? You run the camp?
Yep, I'm the director of the camp. It was my vision. It was and my mom, of course, helped me execute all of it. But I'm the director for the time that we're there, and you know, do the hiring and all of that. And but it's my baby because I'm an educator first. You know, well, I'm a singer first, but an educator, and I want to do everything I can for the children. With regards to CAAPA programming, and so that, you know, that is where I want to start a school at some point. That's my big dream of art school. But I'm starting with the camps, and that's kind of where I've taken off and made sure that they get a fully intensive art-based fun experience, and they also have the opportunity to work with really talented teachers and artists, so that they get a real, you know, sense of what it's like to be in a camp, and the best, be in an arts camp, and the best part is that it's free. So we get to share that. Yeah, we get to share that with the community, and that is one of my greatest gifts, is to be able to give that to them for free and have them be able to come and just be. Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about that real quick. What are the dates of this camp?
So the spring break camp is closed right now, and that's April 11th to the 15th, right? But the summer camp is, gosh, I gotta go find those dates.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second.
It's in the summer, y'all.
It's in the summer, right? So I think it's the last week of July and first week of August we decided on. So we didn't put the registration form up yet because the spring break camp was like all consuming. So we're gonna wait on that just a bit. But once that's up, it'll be put out there to the community to register the students. So
that's awesome. I threw that inside the comments as well for anyone who has some young people. What are the ages?
Right, it's ages 5 through 13. So kindergarten to middle school, through middle school.
This is
Yeah,
wonderful. So I know that there are parents who are out here as the pandemic is there. We're trying to, find our way to deal with it, to have a sense of
yeah.
normalcy while we are living with this thing that will be forever there. Parents are looking for outlets for their
Oh yeah,
children. So here you
absolutely.
go for all of you parents who want to make sure that you are giving your kids a well-rounded educational and fun
And fun.
summer and fun
Artistic.
summer. Yes,
Yes,
they
yes,
need
we have
to
a lot
be
of fun.
present with that too.
Yeah.
Is food included? Because I know that folk are going to ask about that too.
Yes. So the
Look at
summer
that.
camp is both breakfast and lunch, and snacks as well. So they
Ah,
are well fed. They are well fed.
yes. So that's important. So y'all already know your kids are going to be
Yeah.
fed, and
Yeah.
they're going to be
Nine to four.
educated as well as that. Pam, you've rattled off a couple of things that you are doing. You
Mhm.
sing, you educate, you're about to run this camp. How are you finding balance to handle all
Yeah.
of these things coming your way?
I'm just gonna say God first. God
Hmm.
first. I could not do this, all of what I do, without God. But my
Amen.
mom has been a rock for me. I'm always calling every day. We speak once or twice, 3 times, 4, 5, 10 times a day. Uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
and to be honest, I really make sure that I have time for me. Uh, Outside of all the things I do. Like last night, I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna turn the television on. I haven't watched
Yeah.
that in a couple months, and so it's
Hmm.
like those moments where it's like, just take time for yourself. Know that you need that.
Yes.
I try to go away a couple times a year just to get out of my normal routine. But I have my I sing at church, and I have the opera that I'm in right now. By the way, go see Written in Stone at the Kennedy Center. We close in
All
2 weeks. Um,
that's a shameless plug, y'all. We're gonna make sure that you go and support. Absolutely, ain't nothing wrong with that at the
yes,
Kennedy
yes.
Center. Amen.
It's a wonderful piece that I'm in right now, written by two black men. It's a black composer and black librettist, and it's called "It All
Wow.
Falls Down." It's a beautiful piece. So, beautiful music. Carlos Simon, um, and
And Janae
I
Bridges
can't remember his
stars
name
in
right
it.
now.
Okay,
And
I
What
didn't
is
Janae
it?
realize
Bridges,
that.
Oh
and
yes,
Janae
yes, yes,
Bridges
yes.
she's on our board of directors.
That's
Oh,
right.
that is
That's right.
phenomenal. I didn't know
Yeah.
that either. Oh, that's
So is George
wonderful.
Shirley. We're so blessed to have a wonderful board of directors. I mean, I can't even believe. I'm sitting in awe at the board meetings, looking at Mr. Shirley like, you're here with us. It's like amazing.
He is a most gracious
He is.
individual, a most gracious individual. And I know, Terry, that that's one of the keys to having a very successful organization is that you have to have a great board that stands
Mhm.
behind you and that
Yeah.
they are vision casters and that they know how to bring the funds in. Let's not be
Mhm.
deceived because we need that to keep things
Yeah.
operational.
That's true.
So you all just brought on a dear friend as
Yeah.
your chair, which would
Yeah.
be Reggie Van Lee, and I mean
That's
as if here's another individual who has his hands in everything, but everything he puts his hands into, it's done with such great excellence. And
Mhm.
so, kudos to you all for having such a dynamic, intelligent, artistic force as a part of your board and the things that are being birthed and the things that were already set and they're just being watered, the seeds are being watered. I mean, I know that great things are going to come out with all these names that you all just casted off on your board of directors. I mean, come on, that is just dynamic. So listen, I don't want to assume that because your mother daughter that all things work just wonderfully. And you know, they always tell people don't mix business with pleasure or business with family. Get real. Like, has it been a wonderful experience? I'm certain it's been a growth worthy experience. Certain things that you know, some people do not know how to separate business and family relationships. I have seen certain things fall apart in my own family when those things have been
Mhm.
mixed together.
Wow.
What are you all doing? What's one of your secrets to it? And what's something that you have learned from each other that you didn't know until you started working with each other, that, oh my God, I need patience.
Well, well,
I'll let my mom
I'll tell
start
you
on
one
that.
thing. I'll tell you one thing. One important thing that I have learned as a result of this mother-daughter business relationship is that when Pamela puts me in check, I listen.
What does that look like, Terry? What does her putting you in check look like?
You know, because I'm very spontaneous. I'm very,
Uh-huh.
I want to do things. I want to do,
Yes.
just grit. And Pamela has to pull the reins back sometimes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but the important piece is that I've begun to listen to her because she is an experienced professional. She
Hmm.
knows what she's doing. She has good intuition. She has excellent insight
Right.
into situations. She's a very wise woman, and I respect her opinion. And I think that when I started doing that, things started shifting
Mm.
because before it was, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And
Oh, and I was getting frustrated.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
You,
so
I mean, we're supposed to be working together, and you're just making all these decisions, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold up, what? Why are we? What? So
Yeah.
wait,
that was kind
wait a
of
minute,
she was just wait a minute, hold up, wait a
wait a
minute.
minute.
Uh,
Right.
Okay.
Slow your roll,
but
mom. Hold on.
slow your roll. But I do appreciate her listening more now too, and that is actually one of the things, because I think at some point when it shifted, I think she started saying, well, actually, you're really my boss, so I really should be listening to you. And I was like, that's not what I'm trying to say.
Right, right,
I'm
right.
just saying, like, let's talk about this.
Yes.
But what I was gonna say, one thing I've learned is that I need that's in that same vein, I needed to speak up more and not just
Mm.
let her, not that she was doing anything wrong necessarily, but
Right.
I felt overwhelmed because I was like, we're doing so much, and I can't do all of this.
Hmm.
And just pulling back those reins and saying, let's do everything in excellence, not just a whole
Yeah.
lot of things.
Yeah.
And then also, I think, you know, it's our relationship has developed so much more because of CAAPA, because we're always talking about how to grow it, how to make it better, how to reach out more into the community, and having to and watching my mom do what she does is such an inspiration, not just with
Mm.
CAAPA but in other areas, and just wanting to take a few notes from her to be better myself.
Yeah.
So but I love the fact that we still have such a great relationship outside of CAAPA, which is, I think, just a matter of respect for one another. I respect who she is as a person, and vice versa. And there's just so much love. We have a great relationship as mother daughter, and we shop, and we talk on the phone, and we
I love
do
it.
all of these other things in
Yeah.
addition. So um, yeah, I think once I decided that I needed to set some boundaries, that's
Yes.
when it was like a lot easier. And I think that
Yes.
that's one thing I would want to like share with people when you're working. Just make sure you set those boundaries, that you say to yourself, I'm no is okay. You
Yes.
know, I'm not going to do this because I have to keep myself sane. Like, I need to make sure I'm doing what's best for me. And once I learned that, it became so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And
that's a great lesson. A great lesson. Go
one of
ahead, Terry.
I'm sorry to interrupt. One
No,
of the
no
things,
worries.
one of the key things that is helping us to grow, because it's an
Hmm.
evolution, it's a process all the time, is that Pamela told me explicitly that I needed help. So we
Mhm.
Yeah.
started bringing it on because I was doing, Michelle, basically everything.
Everything.
Just
Mhm.
and Pamela said about what 3-4 years ago, Pam, you said,
Yeah.
"Mommy, you need help. Let's get some people on board." And she really took the reins and contacted people who were interested in helping
Mhm.
CAAPA to grow and go to the next level. And she insisted on me getting help.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
and,
And that's
and
how
that's
Miss Belinda came about. Yeah.
yeah, Miss Berlinda.
And
Berlinda, she mentioned Berlinda. Berlinda is our administrative assistant. She just passed away
Right.
a week ago today, as a matter of fact. She was a
mhm.
Yeah.
big help to CAAPA and helping it to grow. But not only that, but we have a great team now with project managers. We have a program director. We've just recently launched a new program division for research and development. So we're looking for ways to increase, where God
Mhm.
Yeah.
and be good stewards
Stewards of
of
it.
all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
My
that
sincerest condolences to you all as friends, as the Kappa family members and the extended family. I know how hard it is when you find someone who not only can help you to grow your vision, but you get connected to them. You're
Yeah.
intimately in
Yeah.
tune with one another and your friends, and you love on
Mhm.
each other, and you've developed a great relationship. I get it. And so,
Yeah.
condolences to you all. And God always provides a ram in the bush.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even though it might be like, oh Lord, what a time, and at this moment things are popping off, there will be two others that will
Mhm.
come that already God the creator has designed and put in place to get ready for whatever is to come next, with Kappa, and I'm excited about that. Tell me, who are your muses? Who do you listen to, go to for inspiration, that just has really inspired perhaps the performance side, or the person who is in this industry, Terry, that you just like, oh man, I love their walk, and I'm not trying to imitate it, but I am looking at some of the things they're doing, and they motivate me every single day.
There are so many people that I can point to, and Reggie Van Lee is certainly one person
Yeah.
that very early on told us that an organization is only as good as our board of directors. So
Yeah.
he gave us that solid advice that we really embraced. But in terms of organizations, one of the early organizations that I was made aware of is the Sphinx organization. I
Yes.
love the work that they're doing. They're nationally based, which is we're nationally based also. We want to go beyond the walls of the DMV. So, a lot of what they have done in the past has been an inspiration. Washington Performing Arts, Jenny
Hmm.
Billfield. When I
Yes.
found out that we're not only fellow Capricorns, but we were raised in the same area in Long Island, New York.
Yes,
Uh,
I'm a
You are
Capricorn
too.
too. Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Nice.
there you go.
That's
Wow.
right.
When's your
you know,
birthday?
I'm the
but the
14th.
But you know
Okay.
what's
Okay.
really, inspiring, Michelle, is the fact that so many Black organizations have popped up now, that are embracing the political realm and what we need to do to advance the mission of Black classical musicians. I believe that
Mm,
this is a renaissance we're in right now.
wow.
With
Yeah.
the new Black composers, the new Black classical artists, the new librettists, and all of these things that are coming out of what unfortunately happened in May 2020. With the death of George Floyd, I think a lot of things have come to the forefront, and classical music for Black musicians is one of them.
Mm,
So,
Yeah.
I'm very, very proud and honored. We're partnering, for instance, with what's the organization out of New York, for a master class this summer through our master class program. Oh, I'm forgetting the name of the organization, but anyway, and they have just done a mighty work in in what's the name of the organization, Pam? Black Classic. Oh, gee, I should have written it down.
It'll come.
But
Mm-hmm.
there are so many others now that are just embracing the fact that we need to advance.
Are you
Not
talking
only
about the Black Opera Alliance, Mom?
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
not only advance on the stage, but behind the stage, in
Mm-hmm.
the boardroom, in the administrative offices, the decision makers, that's the thing that we've been trying to do, bringing color to the classics on a
Yes.
broad spectrum for the past 20 years. So I'm
Yeah.
so happy to see other organizations that have come on board and stepped up to the plate and are doing great and mighty things now for the movement.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that they continue in the movement. Sometimes I find myself getting cynical with things, but because
Yeah.
I know that the responsibility of it really does fall on us as the
Mhm.
Black artists, and the
Yeah.
cynicism comes in when things seem like it's a fad. I hate to use that word, but
Yes.
it's the truth, and I don't want it to be a fad that
I know.
we're in this space where everybody is trying to make
Right.
sure. I'm watching it even when I go to these different states and I adjudicate for choral. They want to make sure that they have the Black composer on, and they want to make sure that
Right.
there's some involvement. And I want to make sure that me, as the Black educator, that I
Mhm.
continue to inspire this to happen for years down the road,
Forever.
even when
Forever.
the
Yes.
energy of it might not be
Yes.
in a
Right.
focus,
Right.
but I need
Right.
Mhm.
us to make sure it's always a focus.
Right.
I
Yeah.
totally
Exactly.
agree. I totally agree.
And this is why CAAPA is so important. And this is why
Yes.
getting the word out of who you all are and what you all do for the
Yes.
Black artists, and all facets of it. I mean, we're not just limiting it to the singer. We're talking about the
Yes.
composer and the arts admin. There are just
Yes.
so many different facets, and we're talking about those who are hearing impaired and what they can add to the flavor of CAAPA, and
Mhm.
dance, and you name it, and the workshops. It's just, y'all go on and on and on, and it's so needed and it's necessary. And however it is, I know I've already sworn that I will do all of my due diligence to make sure that I continue to support you all in your endeavors as you are
Thank
pressing
you.
and growing. And and hopefully this platform is just one of those ways to put it into the airways about who CAAPA is, and
Yes.
and what it is that you all are continuing to do throughout the community. Before we go, I want to know, off the side. We have a lot of things that we have to deal with as we're musicians and mothers and
Mhm.
sisters and aunties and all these other titles that are in it. And sometimes, in our quest in business, we come across some very strange things. What has been a pet peeve of yours that you have recognized over the years that you're like, I would like for this to change, especially when it comes to maybe the African American artist?
Mm. Um. Well, a big pet peeve is being typecast. That is like one of
Hmm.
my ultimate, like, why do we always have to, play this role, or why do we only get cast in Porgy and Bess, or why is it that we are not heard, you know, um, you know, in more
Hmm.
places, and so that I like we said, the conversation is a lot more vibrant now as
Yes.
to what we can do to remedy those things. But my pet peeve is, like, I want us to be able to sing everything. I want us to not be boxed in, and have the opportunity to be seen and heard everywhere, and not just be like, oh, she's good for a Black singer, or like, there's just a lot that we have so
Absolutely.
far to go still. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're on the road. You're on the road. We're on the
Yeah.
road of doing just that. What about you, Terry? What is
Well,
something that you'd like to see?
my grandfather used to talk about crabs in a basket.
Huh? Oh, come
Mm.
on.
Mm.
And that not only applies to certain things, but it applies. I think it's across the board, sadly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if I can wave a magic wand, or you know, change things in an instant, that would be the one thing that we support each other more.
Yeah,
That's really, really, I'm saddened sometimes to see that, people will, our own community will go to something else that's, not of, I don't know. That's my pet peeve. I
yeah,
just feel as though that's something where we can remedy. And if we could do something differently, change a mindset perhaps, or,
yes,
create a new ideology of self, whatever it might be that we can do to improve that part of our lifestyle, and, what we've been doing for generations, that would be
absolutely.
the one thing. That would be the one thing that I would definitely change.
Yeah,
Definitely
I'm gonna
change.
second that with you, as
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
always hoping and praying that we would recognize that what God has given to each of us belongs just to each of us. That
Yes,
it's,
Exactly.
and there's
yes,
so much to go around.
yes,
And when you
yes,
become confident and
Exactly. Exactly.
secure,
Right.
yeah, you're not going to have to worry about fighting over, uh, oh my gosh, they got to do that. Well, no, look at what it is that you have and what you can do with what you have. I
right.
mean, I'm hoping we'll get to that space too, and all we can
Yeah,
do is to continue to encourage and uplift each other in a positive manner, and sometimes be accountable to one another, that when we hear each other in those spaces that are counterproductive to greatness, that we pull that
yes,
person up. Look,
yes,
reminder,
yes,
you got your own thing, and what God has for
yes,
you belongs to you. I can't wear your
right.
shoes. I can't wear your gift. We can only do our own.
Yes,
So
Exactly.
hopefully
Exactly.
that will be a change maker. You will seek the change that we want to be, right? Thank you,
yes.
ladies, so much. I really do
Thank you.
appreciate your presence of being here. The Kappa Cultural Arts Center.
Hmm.
Did you all do an official ribbon opening to that?
We did.
Yeah.
We had a ribbon cutting ceremony in December.
Beautiful,
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's
beautiful.
for the campus house as well. So, right there in Fort Washington.
Wonderful. That is just
Yeah.
so awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
We have several programs coming out of that center. In addition to the Kappa Camp, this Kappa Spring Camp, we also have a new program that's launched called 60 Plus Arts, ARTS, Active Retired Terrific Seniors program.
oh, love
And
it.
arts. We house some recitals and some concerts. Of course, the workshops and so forth. The WOW program will be housed there, and then the Kappa Arts Academy, which is a Saturday program that will be for young people, grades K through 12. So we're looking for
Yes.
staff. We're actually in the process of staffing
Hmm.
uh, the Kappa Arts Academy. So if anybody out there, would like to contact us, that would be a blessing. We'd love to talk to you. And then, of course, interns and volunteers. We're always looking for those people as well. And now that we have this space, our the campus, so to speak,
Yeah,
the sky is really the limit. But with
absolutely.
our focus remains on bringing color to the classics for Black classical musicians, and just so many things. The master class will be held there, the summer master class, but Angela Simpson has formulated
Hmm.
several other classes for between now and the rest of the spring. So that will be posted
Dynamic.
online. And if people can just friend us on Facebook or Twitter,
How
follow.
how do we tell us your handles? How do we get in contact with you? What is the best way?
So
Just
CAAPA, you can find that. A lot of people spell it CAPPA, but it's two A's for African
Hmm.
American. Think of African American. CAAPA, and then the website is the number four, CAAPA.org.
Okay,
And so,
www.4
mhm.
Kappa. .org.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yep. So Facebook, Instagram. Oh no, CAAPA Arts is on Instagram. CAAPA Arts. That's the one on Instagram.
Wonderful.
And then YouTube. They follow us on YouTube, Twitter, and we're trying to get somebody to do us with a little TikTok thing going on.
I love it.
We need somebody that's really, like into TikTok that can do stuff,
Yes, indeed. Well, listen, let's talk, because I have some young folk who are seriously in it, and this is what they do. They do it for their livelihood,
right?
And I am not kidding. They all they do is and they've got all these followers, millions of followers. It's just crazy, but they love it, and what a way to work in the arts and make a little side coin at the same time. Something. Right?
Yes.
Right.
Michelle, I wanted to mention that there's a scholarship application online for graduating high school.
Oh, dynamite. Awesome.
Yeah. The first prize
that's right on the website.
Yeah, it's on the website now. So we're increasing the scholarship money. It was $1,000, $750, and $500, but that's going to be increased for this year. So
that's awesome.
Anybody that's graduating, getting ready to graduate, they can certainly apply.
That's awesome.
But they have to be going into the arts. So,
and all of that information is on your website, where they can read the prereqs in order to be able to get this scholarship. Dynamite. So y'all young people, it doesn't matter. This is money given to you, right? Get on out there, fill out that application, and you never know, help to defray the cost of this very expensive education that we're going for, right? Thank you, ladies, again. I appreciate you all so very much. Thank you all to the Muses who have been online with us tonight, watching us. And I'm only sending out positive energy towards you all, love and embracing you all as you are on your journey. However, again, that I can be of support, you already know I am there. Go ahead, CAAPA, and do the daggone thing to the dynamic duo, Terri Allen and Pamela Simonson. Thank you, ladies. And to everybody else, blessed be. See you soon.
Thank you so much.